Hey, hey, week 4, Empowered Women's Circle ladies. So glad to have you here. We have so much to cover today, so I'm going to immediately share my slides and get started on our content for this week. We are really happy to have you here. Welcome to our circle of support, and let's get started. So always being careful if you're going to start on any health program, if you have any concerns about your health, that you see your healthcare provider and definitely get the advice you need from your professional. Reminder to visit our homepage if you haven't done this. We've got 4 steps outlined for you there to get you started and really help you to understand what we're all about. Embodying our shared agreements, committing. We're going to say 12 weeks, but it's going to be longer than that. We really want you to commit at least 12 weeks to yourself. We've set this up in a 12-week block. We'll roll it over, but absolutely get back to week 1 if you haven't seen it yet and commit to 12 weeks of this. We're really in this for the long haul. We want to help you. We want you to act by downloading an accountability app or getting yourself an accountability partner, something that's going to keep you on track. And we are here to support you in so many ways you're going to hear about, you've already heard about, and we're going to tell you about later. So absolutely find some ways that you can support us as well. We love it. This is a circle. We are supporting each other together. So I'm not going to walk through our shared agreements, although they are printed on the homepage, and I have done it every week until now. But essentially, we are an inclusive group. We extend love, support, and we want to be there for anyone who shows up fully to be with us. So welcome. It's a daily work in progress. So a bit of review here. We are asking you to sit quietly, to get to know yourself, to really, really know yourself, to get in touch with your core values, those non-negotiables about yourself, those things that are really true to who you are, that you may be in touch with or you may have lost track of, but we as women are coming together to stand in our power, and we want to really get to know ourselves deeply and authentically, sense into those deeper yearnings of your life. Now, a lot of times women step into wanting to be more healthy physically, more healthy mentally, more emotionally in touch, more consciously awakened. That can happen for many, many reasons at many times in life. And essentially, those deeper yearnings are starting to bubble up for a lot of you. And that's what we're coming together to support each other in, that stepping into who we really are and who we're bringing to this life to live our very best. So what are your needs? And it is absolutely time to own them. We're going to walk through greater details here today. We talked last week about what do you want to create, and not about just getting to writing a list and checking those things off, but really sensing into observing in your life what has been limiting you until now. So it's not that this is the first time you've wanted to create something great, but it's that this is the time you are going to do it within a circle of support. It may be the first time you've had this type of inclusive, accepting, loving, non-judgmental support of other women. And this is the time that you are now going to reach those goals, because instead of just doing, we're actually going to dig into what has been limiting you and developing a new relationship with yourself, with others, and with the world. So we talked about this, and really just to recap so we can roll into what we're doing this week, you have developed false beliefs. Essentially, they have been created for every single one of us. And it's been a survival mechanism. It's been a way for us to actually cope with a lot of what's been going on around us. And essentially what happened in our lives before we had the capacity to make true meaning. So we look to our environment, we look to the people around us in order to create meaning about who we are. And in fact, a lot of times there are false identities or false beliefs that we formed about who we are based on what other people were reflecting back to us. And we're going to dig into that. This isn't about digging up childhood traumas. There may be some of those. This isn't about going back, necessarily living in the past, although Sometimes it's valuable to look back. This is truly about the here and now. So this is why we can do this together in a supportive group of empowered women, because we're not going into deep psychological work. If you need that, you need to get professional help for that. This is about going from good to awesome, and that's what we're doing together. So understand your actions, and every single action you take, I want you to be thinking about this. You have an underlying belief system. The beliefs lead to thoughts. Those thoughts lead to emotions, and it's the emotion that you're going to feel in your body to help you identify your thoughts and beliefs. So if there's an emotion coming up for you, it's time to really think, why is that emotion coming up? What is it saying about my deeper beliefs that may have developed previously? And those emotions lead to actions. And those actions lead to the world around you reflecting back to you how you have been showing up. So that is how this circle goes, in that you create your reality. So it really happens. And if you have had the insight and the ability, as I hope you have over the last 3 to 4 weeks, to really sit with yourself and analyze some of the actions, some of the behaviors, some of the emotion that's coming up, and really peel the layers away so you can look at how you are reinforcing your underlying beliefs. So I'm going to give you some examples of that today, but really start to work on those things. And it's go time. So maybe you've been waiting for this. It's really, really, really time for you to pick an area of focus. And I've been alluding to that all along, but I really want you now at this point, pull out your journal this week. It doesn't have to be today or right now, but sometime this week, pull out your journal and really start to think about what it is you're going to focus on for the duration of this block with the Empowered Women's Circle. And we are an ongoing circle, so there is no end as to when you have to accomplish, but I want you to start to really think about what is the area you're focusing on. What have been your struggles in this area of your life? What has been your experience? So your struggles and also the actual experience of what's been happening in that area of your life. And I will give you some examples. And what has become your story? So because of your experience, there's now a story that you tell yourself and that you have likely held on to pretty tight. So some examples here. Weight loss. A lot of women are coming out wanting weight loss. I mean, to my clinic, to various programs that I offer and that your wellness leaders here offer, and you'll be hearing more about that. But also to this Empowered Women's Circle, we welcome anyone who's trying to lose weight. We want to really dig into the underlying mechanism of how that has not changed for you, if that's something you have tried for a long time to get on top of. So how have you struggled with your weight? Really thinking about that. Have you started and stopped programs? Have you taken weight off and put more back on? Do you have really good intentions, but you never actually get a routine in place? Or does something else always seem to take priority? So what are the areas that you have struggled, and how much has your beliefs and your thoughts led to certainly some emotion and some frustration, and ultimately the actions that cycle back and reinforce for you that, well, I'm just never going to get this weight off, or this has everything to do with these specific certain issues going on in my life, and as long as those issues are there, I will never get my weight off. Or I'm just going to keep creeping up because I'm older and menopause and my hormones, and there's, I have these hormone imbalances, and therefore I have this weight on because it has everything to do with my physiology and nothing really to do with my personal belief systems. And so I'm here to tell you that there is absolutely a way for you to start to make success and forward progress with your weight loss the more honest and truthful you can be with yourself. Well, that's what it's all about, is sitting quietly with yourself, thinking about how you've struggled in this area, thinking about how your stories and your getting on and off the bandwagon and things that you may have tried that have failed, how those actions have reflected to you and reinforced to you a story about why you can't get your weight off. Now, the really exciting part is, I will tell you that we have an in-person, or if you're not local, a live session coming up, and we're gonna really have some practical exercises around some of these examples. So some more examples, because weight loss might not be what you're looking for. What about career progression? A lot of people are looking for career progression, or finding a new career, or finding new purpose. So digging into, have you been working toward a promotion or a new career? What is the dynamic you have with your boss? The dynamic you have with your team? Are you maybe trying too hard? What are some of the things you're doing that are reflecting back at you and reinforcing the story that you'll never get that promotion? You'll never get that perfect career. Do you want to actually get that promotion for the right reasons? Or is there something inside of you that's saying, well, I really, really want this promotion, but there's some actions around thinking that if you had to work 40, 50, 60 hours a week, you wouldn't have any time with your family. And so there's some unconscious, maybe self-sabotaging. And so we can dig into a lot of that. But in this next week, it really is up to you. And I'm going to say that a couple of times this session. It really is up to you to dig into what actions are occurring that are reinforcing your story. Intimate relationships, another really hot area for so many reasons. So have you been searching for a partner and, well, there's just no partner out there for you? Or have you been maybe in your current relationship showing up in a certain way that is reflecting back to you a certain type of connection or a certain lack of connection? Do you own your happiness? Or do you expect someone else to provide it for you? How do you express your needs? Are you expressing your needs in a way that pushes your partner away? And there's a lot around this push-pull, and there's a lot around the attachment theories, and happy to share more about that. And certainly I have more online information about that. But the bottom line is, think about how you're showing up in your relationship in reference to what you really want to develop in that relationship. So how are you communicating your dissatisfaction? Because things aren't always rosy. And how are you showing appreciation, or do you show appreciation? So if the area of focus for you is around rekindling romance and digging deep into an intimate relationship, or finding a long-term soulmate, which is always a really fun area to focus on, if those are your areas of focus, sit with yourself and really think, how have you been struggling? How have you been showing up? How have your actions created certain experiences for you? Or an example for an area of focus would be health issues. So have you considered how you contribute to your health? Interesting fact you may be aware of, 75% of chronic disease is preventable. And by chronic disease, of course, we mean things like diabetes, things like obesity, things like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, even Alzheimer's disease, and even cancer has gone on the list of chronic disease. 75% are preventable. And a large portion of those other 25% may have been preventable up until a certain point. So do you look for someone else to provide solutions? And as a medical physician, I see this a lot. Women coming in and saying, isn't there a prescription for that? Isn't there a pill for that? Isn't there a pellet or an injectable device or a surgery or something I can do to fix this? And we live in a world where the quick fix is really what people have become accustomed to wanting or to thinking is available. And I know in this Empowered Women's Circle that we, on some level, realize there's no quick fix. But I also want you to realize that there is a fix. that we are empowered women and we are coming together to actually create the life that we know we are ready to step into. I am absolutely on board to help anybody and to support anybody and to be supported by other strong, empowered women who want to help me step into my greatness. So that's what your wellness leaders are here for, because we're here for each other, we're here for you, and we're hoping you're here for us in many, many ways. So together we generate that circle of support. So if health issues have been your main focus and they are your focus, then start thinking about how your particular thoughts, actions, and behaviors have contributed to the story that you've internalized about yourself in the area of health. So dig into your beliefs this week. What do you believe about others in this area? So you've created a story in relationship to others, in a certain engaged dynamic with others. So as an example, if it's a weight issue, you might be thinking, well, others have more time for exercise, or others can afford healthier food choices, or others can afford people cooking for them. I think that sometimes if somebody was cooking for me, maybe we would have healthier food on the table. And I know truthfully that is not my deeper belief, because I love to cook healthy food for my family. But sometimes I think, what about those people who have a chef? That's really cool. And I know there's a lot of women who feel like they can't afford healthy produce for their family, and therefore their food choices are not feeding their family the way they know they should. And I would love to challenge that, because I believe that healthy food choices are affordable and available to everybody, and especially to the women in our Empowered Women Circle. So what are you thinking about others? Like, only others can be thin. Only other people can feel good about their body. Only other people are meant to be healthy. I'm always going to have this chronic pain. Now that's in the area of health. But let's say, I'm never going to have a deeply committed, intimate relationship because I'm just not, people don't get me. My partner just doesn't get me, or men just don't get me, or it's not in the cards for me. I'm just going to have to dig in and support my spouse and support my kids and feel a lack of love in my relationship. And sadly, I see that quite a bit. So what do you believe about others in this area of focus? Remember, it's go time. You have an area of focus by the end of this week. What do you believe about the world or life in general in this area of focus? So do you believe that the world is sabotaging your ability to get healthy, or the world, the way our world is set up right now, the business world, for example, me as a woman cannot make progress in the area of business, or I can't make progress in the area of my profession? What do you believe about the world? What sort of tight container do you have on yourself in this area that is limiting you and holding you down and keeping you small? So how have you created evidence for this story? And I want to highlight for you, really important, if you have a pen and paper, you can write this down. If not, refer to the slides. But the more you can take responsibility for the reality of your life, the greater the transformation that is possible for you. So as a medical doctor, I've been trained to really help people. And when someone comes in the office, I want to help, and I want to provide solutions, and I want to give answers, and I want to guide them and tell them what I think they should do and all of that. But I've learned that if I really want someone to step into the dream that they have for their life, they need to create what that dream is. So that area of focus, they need to figure out where it is they want to work. And it is sometimes work. And B, they need to take responsibility for making those changes in that area. And the responsibility goes even deeper than that. It goes to accepting responsibility for where they are now. So what has happened that has led to this point, and how much responsibility you can take for where you sit right now in that area of focus will determine the amount, the intensity, the level, the joy involved in the transformation that we're going to have together. How exciting. So releasing your brilliance involves own your circumstances, own your power, own your life. Those are the steps. Own your circumstances, know how you got there, understand how you've ended up where you have. Own your power to change those circumstances, and that's discussed multiple times in the previous weeks. And that's how you own your life. I'm so excited to support you in this process. So now we're going to dig into what Marcia and April have for us this week regarding your mind and your body. So let me just get set up to share with you about your mind and your body. Okay, here we go. For the last 3 weeks, Marcia has shared with us that nutrient deficits are very common and can affect your overall well-being. So Marcia believes that the first step to fixing a broken diet is to start by eliminating some of the nutrient deficits that everybody has. So she gave us some tips on how to get more nutrients. If you missed the past few weeks and you haven't had a chance to go back and listen, these recommendations were to complete your free ID Life Health Assessment, to see what vitamin and mineral supplements are right for you, and to shoot for 5 colorful servings of vegetables every day. So if you have been listening each week, hopefully by now you're taking some awesome vitamins and supplements, and you're increasing your colorful veggie intake, and therefore you're likely already alleviating your nutrient deficits and giving your body what it needs to function properly. So now, moving forward, for the next 3 weeks, Marcia is going to share with us some information on another very common deficiency: water. The amount of body water varies based on age and gender, but generally is about 50 to 60% of your body weight. Symptoms of mild to moderate dehydration can include dry skin, fatigue, weakness, muscle cramping, headaches, nausea, and so much more. Severe dehydration can cause much worse symptoms: muscle spasms, trouble with vision, kidney, and even liver failure. Good hydration is vital for so many reasons. Every cell, tissue, and organ requires water to perform their functions, including joint lubrication, waste removal, and maintaining good body temperature, just to name a few functions. And water helps dissolve some of those ever important nutrients we talked about the last few weeks and delivers them to your cells. So, in alignment with what Marcia is sharing, we will shortly get to what April is telling us about. But when we talk about hydration, coming back to some really essential resources, this is a reference that I will put into the weekly resource page, and you can go ahead and have a look at it. And it talks about why hydration is so important, and also some of the details and facts and figures that Marcia has just shared with us. But I would like to diverge a little bit and share with you, we're giving our kids, and often we ourselves, are drinking some other hydrate liquids besides water. Now, we believe, all of us, your wellness leaders, all believe that water is the most important and the essential hydration fluid. So water, water, water. But if you're giving your kids, or you're drinking things like Gatorade or Powerade or even vitamin water, I'm going to show you a couple of what we call label paint. So the ingredients in Gatorade are: first ingredient water, second ingredient sugar, third ingredient dextrose, which is essentially another name for sugar. You can also see natural and artificial flavors on there. So some artificial flavors and a couple of things, as well as cornstarch, color. So really not a lot of great stuff in there. This is vitamin water, and I want to draw your attention to where it says sugars. So 13 grams of sugars might not sound too bad to you when you look at this label, but there's 2.5 servings per container. So when you pick up a bottle of vitamin water and drink the bottle, you're getting 2.5 times the 13 grams of sugar. Please don't ask me to do the mental math that fast, but that's a whole lot more sugar than you need with one drink. Here is a popular soda, 24 grams of sugars in the can, water, and then high fructose corn syrup as your top 2 ingredients. Really important to have a good hydration fluid. We highly recommend water. I can't say that enough. Water, water, water. But if you want to be the cool soccer mom and your kids won't just won't drink water, or you're concerned more about their vitamins, minerals, electrolytes, then hydrate fluid with ID Life has no sugar. It's sweetened with stevia. You can put it in a container for the kids after soccer practice. You can dump it in their water bottle. It comes in 3 awesome flavors. So it is a really good option for those people who aren't getting enough water because they don't love the taste of water, or if we're concerned that they're sweating too much and maybe need some electrolyte replacement or some additional nutrients. But again, water, 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 folks. So in alignment with what Marcia was sharing, April agrees that hydration is very important. So for the next couple of weeks, April's going to share some tips on how to control the commonly complained about symptom of brain fog. Who can't find their keys? I'm raising my hand here. I always have trouble finding my keys, and I know they have these little GPS locator things for keys, but I have not got one yet, and I really think that's an essential for our household. Well, I should be honest. Taking responsibility this week, it's an essential for me because I'm the one that loses the keys. But if you experience afternoon fatigue, focus issues, depression, anger, emotional instability, exhaustion, headaches, sleep issues, stress, lack of mental clarity, all of those things, those are all mental symptoms of brain fog that could be caused by dehydration. So this is because drinking water and brain function are very tightly linked. And as we talked about a few minutes ago, just about every function in the body is dependent on water, including the brain and nervous system. The brain's about 85% water, so it's pretty eye-opening that the brain is that much water, actually, that our cells contain that much water, but also that people aren't getting the water that they need. So with this information from Marcia and April, we want you to understand that staying hydrated is super important every day and that you have to be intentional about it. A good rule of thumb is to drink half your body weight in ounces of water per day. So that's half your body weight in pounds, whatever you are in pounds, in ounces every day. So if you're 100 pounds, or let's say 200 pounds, then that's probably closer to the norm. If you're 200 pounds, then you should be drinking 100 ounces of water a day. If you're 150 pounds, you should be drinking 75 ounces of water a day. So I know it sounds like a lot of calculating, but it's interesting. My 12-year-old son actually calculates the amount of ounces of water he drinks a day and takes bottles of water to keep up with what he thinks are his required ounces per day. So now this is, of course, just a beginning guide and varies from person to person depending on factors such as your activity level, how much you sweat, your environment, heat, humidity, but it's a good place to start. So experiment with getting more water, listen to your body, and explore how it feels to be hydrated. The good news is that you already are getting more water if you're eating the more vegetables and fruits from the call to action in the last few weeks, because they also have water in them. Now, a couple other things April wants you to consider is the source of your water. It's really important to have filtered water to make sure all the chemicals are removed from your water. And if you're not already filtering your water in some capacity, you really need to investigate that. And we can provide more resources if you have questions. And to transport your water safely. So make sure if you're using plastic water bottles, they're BPA free. Glass and metal are obviously better because they don't leach into the water. And we also want you to consider the environment. So it's a very, very small step, but every time we go to a hotel, for example, or we travel, we always, always, always take our personal water bottles and refill them, even if we have to refill them from the bathroom tap, which isn't an ideal source of water. We will do that over buying plastic water bottles, which are not good for the environment. And the kids have embodied that. It's incredible how they've realized the environmental implications of plastic. So Our call to action this week for you is to start your day with 8 to 16 ounces of water right as soon as you get up, immediately when you wake up on an empty stomach. There are many benefits to getting in some water first thing in the morning, and this can really make a difference. So here are some tips to help you remember every morning this week. You can either put a glass of water on your nightstand by your alarm clock. If you're like me, you'll spill it, so make it one that has a tight cap. Set an extra alarm to go off 10 minutes after your wake-up alarm that tells you to get your water, or put a Post-it note on the fridge that reminds you to drink your water. And Marcia says next week we're going to give you some great tips and some great reasons to continue drinking that extra water. Now, if any of you have heard of Ayurvedic medicine, one of the first things they tell you is to drink water, which is about room temperature, with lemon in it or some form of citrus in it, and have a huge glass of that in the morning to start your digestion. So that's another sort of reason that this would also be a benefit. So for your call to action regarding movement, get your body moving, keep it moving. So you've been doing 15 minutes one day a week and hopefully having some fun with it. This week, we are encouraging you to at least continue the level you're at last week, whether it be simple 15-minute movement once per week or more purposeful movement, add in some speed, or potentially try a 15-minute workout 2 days this week if you're ready. And if you're really ready to step it up, one of your workouts could be this one by Jen Widerstrom, the full body superset workout, and the link is available on the home page. Remember, this is movement that you do in addition to whatever movement you do in a normal day. This movement is not walking into and around the grocery store, up and down the stairs at your house, following after your kids. Okay, this is time you're taking for yourself that is solely meant to add some time for you in the week. So there's the added benefit of it being extra movement, but there's also the added benefit of it being personally for you. And there's some mental benefit to that. If you're taking on this increased call to action for movement, it has to be on 2 separate days. You can't just double up your 15 minutes and make it 30 minutes. It really has to be 2 days in the week of at least 15 minutes each. So schedule 2 15-minute blocks in your calendar and move, whatever that is. So that's your movement call to action. And I just bring you back to, again, the hydrate fluid, because if you're really upping your movement and you're drinking as much water as you can and as you have as your requirement, and you step into also needing some electrolyte solution, or you're sick and tired of water, some people don't even like the taste of water, or they need something to encourage them to drink more water, we suggest you do it without sugary or artificial flavors or colors. And ID Life Hydrate is an excellent option for that. And don't forget, the ID Life options are also feeding into our circle and making it possible for your wellness leaders to continue bringing you this excellent information. So your weekly goals: complete the 4 steps outlined on the homepage. I keep referring back to those in case you haven't done them. And weekly, right here on this homepage and in your inbox, I'm going to be sending email reminders for you to go to the weekly video recording page and watch your recorded sessions. Keep that up on a weekly basis and stay committed to us. Together, we're going to take small steps amounting to deep, lasting health and vitality that translates into every aspect of your life. So don't worry if you narrow your focus this week. I want you to pick an area of focus, but as you up level in that area, it will ripple into the other areas of your life. Soon we're going to have a live and in-person circle where we have a safe container for self-expression and personal growth, just like we do on the virtual site. Friendship, acceptance, lots of guidance and resources, a sense of community with other women, and some accountability, and some great personal practices that we're going to dig into in that circle. Coming to your inbox soon, more details. So for now, let your light shine. This is our Empowered Women's Circle. We are here to strengthen your body, elevate your mind, and nurture your soul. So amazing to be here with you. Little long this video, but I will see you next week. Bye-bye for now.